Thanks for joining us again on the newsroom. The federal government has kicked off the Special Public Works Program. The government announced the takeoff via its official Twitter handle on Tuesday. The program, which is coordinated by the Ministry of Labour and Employment, was approved by President Muhammadu Buhari as part of the fiscal stimulus measures in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. A total of 1,000 Nigerians from each of the 774 local government areas will be engaged in the program, coordinated by constituted state committees. The Senate has passed a bill which prescribes life jail sentence as against the current 10 years maximum sentence for kidnappers. The bill contains amendments to the criminal code, which is currently in operation in the southern part of Nigeria. The proposed legislation, sponsored by Senator Oluremi Tinubu, seeks to delete the statute of limitation on defilement, increase punishments for the offense of kidnapping, and remove and gender restrictions in the offense of rape and other related matters. The bill also eliminates time frame for prosecuting defilement cases by increasing the period from 2 months to as many years as the victim decides to take up the matter. Meanwhile, a former senator representing Northern Taraba, Ambunozik Sunday, has been kidnapped. Also kidnapped was the cleric of the Taraba State Police Command's mosque, Mohammed Nuhu. The former lawmaker was abducted in his hometown Bachama community in Karim Lamido local government area of Taraba State while paying homage to his people. Nuhu, on the other hand, was kidnapped from his house in Jalingo in the early hours of Monday. The police public relations officer, David Misal, made this disclosure at the police command office in Jalingo while presenting a cache of arms recovered from suspected bandits and parading some tricycle thieves. He noted that efforts are in top gear to rescue the lawmaker and the cleric. Senator Danjo Mala, representing Kaduna South Senatorial District in the National Assembly, has raised the alarm over fresh attacks and killings in his constituency. Raising a point of order during plenary on Tuesday, La lamented that his people were being massacred daily by some bandits who seem to have overpowered the security operatives in the area. He, however, pleaded with the Senate to direct security agencies and the military to pay more attention to the areas to ensure peace. Ruling on the point of order, Senate President Ahmed Lawan condemned the incessant killings in the area and urged the security agencies to eradicate insecurity in the country. The Supreme Court has dismissed the appeal filed by Timi Alaibe challenging the emergence of Governor Duri as the flag bearer of the People's Democratic Party in the 2019 governorship election in Bayelsa State. Alaibe, who had lost the suit at both the Federal High Court in Owerri and the Port Harcourt Division of the Court of Appeal, had in the suit challenged the participation of 2 delegates who voted in the primary that produced Duri as the party's candidate. Ruling on the matter on Tuesday, a 5-man panel of the Apex Court, led by Justice Olabode Rhodes Vivo, dismissed the appeal. In the preliminary inquiry preceding the hearing, the Justice Rhodes Vivo panel informed the plaintiff that his case could not be categorized as a pre-election case that a court could entertain, but about an internal affair of the party, which the court lacked jurisdiction to hear. Let's take a break here, and we'll be right back. Do stay with us.
Trade is a force for good. I've seen it with my own eyes. Its ability to improve millions and millions of lives. I've spent my life working with teams around the world to deliver reforms, broker agreements, improve systems, fight corruption, and empower economies. Coronavirus has changed the face of the global economy and left many countries facing difficult choices. This is a critical moment for world trade, and the WTO has a vital role to play. It's time to come together. It's time for the WTO to listen to its members, seek common ground, hunt for solutions, rebuild trust, and return to its founding mission. My name is Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, and I'm the woman for this job. I want to bring a fresh pair of eyes and ears to the WTO and make it fit to thrive for the 21st century.
After spending 2 weeks in isolation, Delta State Governor Ifeanyi Okowa says he and members of his family have all recovered from COVID-19. Okowa shared the news of his recovery via his official Twitter handle on Tuesday. He said he and his wife had tested positive for the novel coronavirus about 5 days after their daughter contracted the disease. In his Twitter message on Monday, Okowa also appealed to residents of Delta to abide by all guidelines aimed at curbing the spread of the virus. The National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools is making an appeal to the federal government to review its stand on the suspension of 2020 public examinations. In a statement on Monday, a representative of the body, Yomi Odebole, said there is a need to avoid a situation where Nigerian students will be forced to seek an alternative of writing the exams by approaching neighboring countries such as Ghana. He added that it will not be good for the image of the country. Odubela also noted that private schools under NAPS are ready to resume classes while strictly complying with the safety protocols prescribed by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. While school owners are clamoring to reopen and allow students to sit for national examinations, the World Health Organization has issued a warning against the move. Dr. Michael Ryan, emergencies chief of the global body, stated that the reopening of schools should be made without political considerations. He said schools should not be turned into another political football, as it will not be fair on the health and safety of children.
Children will be exposed to that virus, and children will be part of the transmission cycle. They will be exposed, some will be infected, and they may infect others. What we don't fully understand is the impact on those children in the long term. We know in the short term they tend to have milder infections. We don't know the impact in the long term, and we don't know to what extent they pass that infection on and infect others. But we do know that that can happen. Yes, there is an issue around how much and to what extent children participate in transmission. There are real issues around how schools can be reopened safely, but the best and safest way to reopen schools is in the context of low community transmission that has been effectively suppressed by a broad-based, comprehensive strategy. We can't move from let's deal with the schools and then we all deal with that for a week or two and then let's deal with the workplace, or then let's deal with infection in hospitals or long-term care facilities. This is playing whack-a-mole. We have got to focus on a comprehensive, long-term strategy that focuses on everything at one time. We've got to chew gum and walk at the same time, and we keep pulling ourselves down various rabbit holes. Schools are a hugely important part of this. They're a hugely important part of our social, educational architecture. They're the baseline of our civilization. But we can't turn schools into yet another political football in this game. It's not fair on our children. So we have to look at this carefully in the light of the transmission in any given country or any given setting, and we have to make decisions that are based on the best interests of our children, be it their educational or their health interests. And that must be based on data. That must be based on understanding the risks in the specific setting in which schools are.
NBA star Russell Westbrook says he's tested positive for COVID-19 as the league gears up for its return in Florida later this month. In a statement released on Monday, Westbrook said he was feeling well and was in isolation. He's one of the several NBA players who have tested positive for COVID-19, joining a list which includes Brooklyn's Kevin Durant, Boston's Marcus Smart, and Utah Jazz duo Robbie Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. Let's take a break here and we'll be right back. Just stay with us. Banks will now be able to debit the accounts of loan holders in other banks to settle defaults, and that's effective from the 1st of August, according to the Global Standing Instruction published by the Central Bank of Nigeria on Monday. The CBS said the Global Standing Instruction, GSI, which was developed in collaboration with stakeholders, should be the last resort used by a bank to settle loan defaults. The Apex Bank said the directive would apply to eligible loans granted from August 28, 2019. According to the GSI, the account types that the standing instructions can be applied to include individual and current and joint savings accounts, current accounts, domiciliary accounts, investment deposit accounts, and electronic wallets. Amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, there's been a spread of Ebola outbreak in Western Democratic Republic of Congo, with 50 new cases recently reported across a large region bordering the country and Central African Republic. Executive Director of the World Health Organization, Mike Ryan, said 48 cases have been confirmed in Equator Province, with a further 3 probable cases and a total of 20 deaths since authorities announced the outbreak on June 1st.
As of the 12th of July, we've had 48 confirmed cases and 3 probable cases reported from Equator Province in western DRC. We've had 17 deaths of confirmed cases and the three deaths of the 3 probable cases, 11 survivors. We've had 21 affected health areas in 6 health zones in Equator. And that does, while the numbers are low, that does represent a broad geographic extent of the virus, and that is of a concern. While the numbers are quite low in each health zone, any one of those individual cases can result in amplification of disease. In terms of the areas that are affected, there are 5 zones that we've had cases in the last 21 days, and most of the zones, in fact, have had a case in the last 7 to 10 days. So we're still within that incubation period for another wave of cases in the zones of Bikoro, in Balomba, in Iboko, in Lutumbe, and in Bandaka itself.
And Super Eagles goalkeeper Maduka Okoye has signed a 2-year deal with Dutch club Sparta Rotterdam. With the deal, he becomes the 3rd Nigerian to feature for Sparta Rotterdam after Dele Adeleye and Sani Keita. According to newsmen, the 21-year-old keeper was on the verge of joining a top-flight team in Holland, and that's in a bid to gain first-team experience. After seeing out his contract with Dusseldorf, where he made 14 appearances, conceding 26 goals and keeping 2 clean sheets last season in the West Division, Okoye is expected to compete for the first-choice place with Benjamin Van Leer, who returned from a season loan at Ajax. And that's it on the newsroom. Many thanks for watching. Bye for now.